What's up guys, Barry Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today we're doing somewhat of a follow-up to the main pinned video on this channel. That is, what heroes are the best ones to level up to E5 first to give you the best bang for your buck as far as Sealand progress goes, broken spaces, a whole bunch of things, PvP, PvE damage. We talk about a lot of them, but what I did say I would be doing is making a completely separate list for those who are spending on the game. More than just a little bit. Usually the people who are probably what you consider mid spenders to whales, heavily leaning towards the whale side of things, of really big spenders, but this can really be good for those of you who do spend a bit here and there on every other event, every event once a month, something like that, beyond the daily or the monthly carnival cards, the diamond funds, the privilege cards, all those things. So we're gonna go over and talk about what the best heroes are, because let's be honest, it's actually going to be different than the original list of heroes, and we're going to go over why for a bunch of reasons. The biggest one though is you're still going to pick heroes that can do well in Sealand, but they can be less optimal at first because you will be building heroes much faster. You'll be able to get 2 E5s probably faster than it takes for someone free to play to get 1 E5 for a lot of times. So you can rely on these heroes, for example, like Garuda, even heroes like Tix, that they're not going to do solo Sealand, but if you're going to build 2 in the same faction real quick, then they're worth it. So yes, we are going to go over some of these. We're going to kind of do them in order. The first one I will say is probably Aspen. I'm going to throw up into the B tier. He can be very, very strong. You only need like a 6 to 8 star Aspen in Dark to actually get Dark Sealand done. But it does require a lot of harder copies to get, such as 3 to 4 Baby Amun Ra. Definitely a Carrie as well, leveled up. So he can be good for the first hero if you're having trouble getting copies, but the one that I would actually put better would be Carrie, because a lot of times in a lot of Dark Sealand clears that I have seen out there, they actually have an E5 Carrie and then they have a baby Aspen, because Aspen is just there for the damage, but he can really ramp it up. The really important thing is getting that Carrie for those guaranteed energy drains to lower the RNG required to finish Dark Sealand. And the reason why Carrie is definitely above Aspen is because, well, Aspen falls off after the mid game. He's not used in the endgame PvP, whereas Carrie is in like majority of people's endgame PvP lineups. Granted, right now with all the Transcendence heroes coming out, she's not as popular. There are other ones that are much better, but she can be that core 1 E5 hero to make you actually win. The downside is she does absolutely nothing in PvE besides supporting, and she's only a utility hero for Aspen Dungeon to push from Death 1 to Death 100. She's not going to clear a ton of waves, but she can win on certain niche waves. So overall, I would give her the A tier. Not quite S, even though she is S tier probably on a PvP list, but that's kind of where I would put it. Cthuga, definitely D tier. Honestly, I would probably just completely leave him off the list if it was up to me. But hey, it is what it is. Horus can be decent. I would put him around C tier though, just because he is extremely gonna fall off towards the late game on your account. You're pretty much gonna have a very quick shelf life on Horus. You're not gonna keep him around long. Honestly, you'll probably take that horse and immediately swap him out to a Tix instead. So that's kind of why I'm a little iffy on him. He's all right. He's not amazing. He's decent. He's solid. You're gonna get hero copies easy. But if you're spending on the game, you don't necessarily need to go for a hero like Horus, because as you've heard before, he's great in PvE. PvP, not great at all. So, you know what? One thing I'm going to put, Delacium, I'm actually going to be putting down in the D tier, and I really should leave him off the list, because if you are spending, you don't want to bring Delacium to E5. You want to keep him at a 10 star for a Delacium army. Anything over 10 star, not really needed. It's kind of overkill. Once you're at 10 star, they can survive through all the PvE content, so long as you have 2 to 3 of them with a Heart Watcher with energy. Granted, yes, he can do solo Sealand 20 by himself, even at 10 star, but I am going to keep him down the bottom of the list for spenders out there, just because he's not going to help you anywhere else in the game besides PvE and Sealand. So that's that. The next one though, Garuda. Garuda. I'm tempted to put her somewhere between A and B. I know there's not going to be many S tiers here, guys. Not many at all. I feel like I'm going to put her in B right now. Even though at Aspen kind of feels... No, I'll give her an A tier. I'll definitely bump her up one. The main reason is she is still somewhat relevant in the endgame PvP right now. Of course, she is falling off. Part of that might be just because she doesn't have her void imprints yet, which she will in the future. But she does require 2 Garudas to actually finish Sealand 20. She does have a decent shelf life. She'll do amazing in PvE for you. She'll do great in PvP for you. Really, the downside for her is Aspen Dungeon. She doesn't do anything in Aspen Dungeon, but she does have that longevity. If you are spending money and you can build heroes fast, if you go for a Garuda, I would highly suggest your second E5 hero also be a Garuda. And then in that case, she is that A tier for Sealand. It really just takes 2 E5 Garudas, some support, maybe a couple artifacts, but if you're spending, it's not going to be a big issue, and you should get Sealand 20 done as well. So that's kind of where I am with that. Now, the next 2 are going to be interesting picks. So a lot has changed since Void Imprinting is around. I'm actually going to grab Penny first and drop her down into the C tier. Mainly because, yeah, she's still really, really strong, but as a spender, you are easily going to outgrow Penny. Penny's going to be someone who doesn't last you to the late game, end game. She does decent in PvE. She does decent in early game PvP. Probably above average. She does okay to get you to death 1 in Aspen Dungeon, but after that, she's very niche. She doesn't have that reliability with her critting, so I will still put her on C tier, but I don't think it's something spenders should necessarily go after. I would actually prioritize Enosuke at B tier above Penny, just because he can literally do Sealand 20 solo. He can get you to death 1 very easily. He can support you to the death 50 push, which you'll probably see later this weekend. We did a death 1 push with Enosuke. He's very strong, very good. He will do pretty good in PvP. He'll do good in tower. He does PvE pretty well. He's overall, he just feels like a better Penny in my opinion. So that's why I'm going to bump him up to the B tier right there. Russell, yeah, Russell's going straight to that S tier. Russell is going to do really great for you in so many places. He is one of the best PvE heroes in the game. He can do Sealand 20 in light with pretty minimal support. You could do it with some 3-star Holy Kids with energy artifacts, maybe a Belrain or an Ada to tank in the front row, but I've seen very minimalistic setups with Russell, and that's light Sealand 20 just done. You are never going to run out of Russell's lifespan. He's such a new hero. He will be around for quite a while in the PvP meta. He has such big burst. Like I said, amazing PvE damage. Crazy good in PvP. Aspen Dungeon, he's one of your core heroes you're going to want to use definitely to death 50, probably all the way up to death 100. Most people will still use him. Granted, he is a little bit reliant on artifacts, but again, if you're spending, it's not that big of a deal. He is just overall by far, I think, one of the best picks for this list right here. Yeah, I'd say so. One thing that I will move on to for the next hero is Rogan. So, Rogan, I had a lot of difficulty figuring out where to put him. And honestly, if I had like a somewhere between A and B tier, I would probably put him there. But I think I have to put him in the B tier. For free players and low spenders, Rogan's not going to be a good first E5. Just no, don't do it. He doesn't do Sealand that great by himself. He doesn't do Aspen Dungeon great. He is a support hero when it comes to both PvP and PvE. But in pairing him with Garudas or even multiple Rogans, because as you guys have seen, you can pretty much get Sealand 20 done with like 3 to 4 Rogans. I know that's a lot. It sounds stupid. I've done it, you've seen it, but a mixture of Garudas and Rogans together as your first couple E5 heroes, it's not that bad. And Rogans are probably going to be in the PvP meta forever, mainly because of his speed boost that he gives his team. So yeah, he's here to stay. He has some good utility and healing for teammates as well, but I do think B is an okay spot. Just because, unlike other heroes that are below him, he is the endgame PvP support hero, like the end-all be-all, especially with all of the Transcendence heroes coming out. That is my take on it. Next up is Sherlock. So, Sherlock I'm actually going to put up to A tier, especially with Void imprints right now. There's plenty of people out there showing some really cool Fortress Sealand clears with a solo imprinted Sherlock, so that's kind of cool. Of course, he has some support around him, but Sherlock is another one that is going to be in the endgame PvP meta for quite a while still. He has fallen off a little bit, but I do think he still deserves a place up there. Man, the more I look at this A tier, the more I kind of want to put Carrie up to S tier, but I mean, I think Russell's going to be that like cream of the crop, tip of the top, tip of the tree, top of the tree, just the best. But Sherlock does have his advantages. The one big downside for him is he doesn't do anything in PvE, but PvP and Sealand, and especially Aspen Dungeon, he rocks it. Aspen Dungeon, you need him for Aspen Dungeon. Just about everybody will use him. He counters a lot of really important waves on your way from death 50 to death 100, and he can be high rolled with his doves absolutely crazy. So would I put him lower? Maybe a B tier, but I do feel like A suits him well just because of a combination of Sealand, PvP, and Aspen Dungeon. Because spenders, Aspen Dungeon does take quite a high priority compared to low and non-spenders in the game. We do have 2 more down here. Ithacua. So Ithacua is another one. I think I'm going to put her at B tier. Now with imprinting and not needing as many pay-to-win artifacts to make her as relevant in solo Sealand, she can do solo Sealand 20 in Shadow with some baby ticks very easily with some Void imprinting. It's been really cool to see what people have been doing on Reddit and on Discord, showing off teams. Ithacua will always be pretty much the top of the tier when it comes to PvE damage, especially when you mix her into a Delacium army. But even without Delaciums, her bleeds and her poison are just crazy dots that tick for so much damage and are so powerful. So that's why I would put her at B tier. But again, she really has no place in PvP. But she does have some uses in Aspen Dungeon, at least up to death 50. Once you get past 50, she kind of loses her power. But then again, we haven't really tested her in Aspen Dungeon with imprint, so there's promise, which is why I'm going to put her at B tier. I don't know why I have a second Garuda on this list, but lastly is probably one of the most important heroes around lately, and that is Tix. I feel like I really need to put Tix up there with Russell as S tier for first E5s to build. 2 big reasons. One, he is probably the most important hero right now in the game when it comes to getting to death 100. Once you Void imprint a Tix up to like Void 2 and you get him a basic Punisher staff, he can clear so many waves. You've seen it on our evil meme team where we have one very powered up. We get up to like the mid 80s almost every run now. Death 80-ish, 80, 86, just because of how powerful this one hero is with Void imprints. So he is god tier when it comes to Aspen Dungeon. Now, Sealand, you can actually get Sealand 20 done with 2 E5 ticks. We've done it on our account. It's possible. Do you need some support? Yes. Is it optimal? Definitely not. But he does have the potential to get you to Sealand 20, so that is something to consider. Again, might be something to build a Horus right away and then swap over to a Tix after Sealand 20, but he is not horrible at Sealand 20. He is going to be rocking it in PvP with the right setups. We have a lot of people on the interdimensional arena lineups actually imprinting their Tixes over their Scarlet Queens and their Sword Flash Shias. So that says something about his power and his capability. You cannot underestimate him in PvP as well. He is okay in PvE, nothing really to sing home about. He's okay, he's decent. Nothing great, like I said. But the one big thing that he is game-breaking in, beyond Aspen Dungeon, is Vortex and Tower of Oblivion. So this man right here, just 1 E5 ticks, not even E5. I've seen like 10 star and E1s help clear all the way up to Tower of Oblivion. 650, I think, is the top level. And he is the most important hero to have for pushing in Vortex, in the Void Vortex. He is god tier. No one comes close to being able to do as much damage as he does. His abilities are just crazy, overpowered, broken. Yeah, but that's kind of why I feel like Russell and Tix are probably the best 2 targets to go for. I would maybe lean more towards Russell if you are kind of wailing out on the game, because then you're going to be able to accumulate those Sealand shards for Elite, Light, or Dark 5 stars. Whereas Tix, be easier to get copies of him for sure, because he'll be easily gotten from 5-star selection chest. Plus, I mean, he's just really, really strong, but he is a little bit easier to acquire for the lower spenders on what we're talking about. So I think that kind of does it here. Let me know if you guys think I missed any heroes. I kind of looked through every faction and grabbed like the top 2 of each faction that has potential. You'll notice I didn't put Marax on here just because, yeah. I mean, maybe Marax in the future we find a build, but he is for now being left off the list. Same with Floor. They just don't wow anybody, and they don't have that niche where it's like, oh, you're doing this, you gotta build this hero, where you do say that with Russells and Tixes. So we do not have any Transcendence here on here. No Queen, no Shia, and that's just because they don't do anything in Sealand, so that's not going to help you whatsoever. That is like your second or third E5 that you're going to build in a lot of these cases. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this list. Let me know if you think I got anything wrong, because, you know, it's Barry Gaming. We do Barry things. We do sometimes stupid stuff, but I try to pass along the best information possible to you guys. So let me know what you think. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed it. Make sure you enter in all of our giveaways, because we got a ton of them going on, and we also have the second channel with a giveaway on that as well. All the links are in the description. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.
Care